Painting parts and sub-assemblies for the 8-inch howitzer is the next phase of the build we wish to show in this video. When necessary, we will cement some of these parts together to produce more sub-assemblies such as the single and dual wheel sets. TCP 354 galvanized steel is being sprayed at 28 to 30 psi using a Vega 2000 airbrush fitted with a 0.5 mm tip onto all of the wheel hubs. These are still on the sprue, so we can spray all the sides by turning the sprue as needed to obtain complete coverage. After the paint has dried, we can cut the hubs from the sprues, and now we are ready to cement the hubs using CA into the tires to complete the single and dual wheel sets for the gun carriage. Note, it is easy to tell which hubs are for the single and dual sets because of their size. Put the assemblies aside to cure when completed. Now we are ready to spray TCP 1402 olive drab for the 1942 to 44 era on the 8-inch howitzer gun barrel, recoil mechanism, gun carriage, and other parts which require this color. Note that I placed many of the parts onto painter's tape mounted on a piece of cardboard so that I can turn or lift the parts easily to make sure I have painted the insides as well as the outsides completely. I am using the same equipment and technique as I used in section 1 of this video. Several small parts still on sprues are sprayed as well. After side 1 has dried about 45 minutes, I removed the parts from the painter's tape and repositioned them onto another board prepared previously. No paint is removed in this process. The entire Tru-Color paint military paint product line have adhesion promoters added to prevent lifting of our paint from your plastic or metal models. Repeat the same procedure in applying TCP 1402 olive drab to the second side and let everything aside to dry. TCP 412 matte steel is now being sprayed onto many parts. You will note the barrel, breech, axles, springs, trail locks, and other parts mounted onto painter's tape ready to be sprayed. The matte steel is being sprayed at 28 psi using the same equipment and technique as I've used previously. I carefully opened the door on the breech to allow me to paint the inside. I turned and lifted the cardboard as needed to cover everything inside as well as outside. After drying about 30 minutes, repeat TCP 412 application for the second side. Using CA, I am cementing the breech onto the barrel. The Atlantis Models kit at least has some parts that are notched so that they only fit one way. That is the case with the breech onto the barrel. Use a tweezer to hold it upright and set it aside to cure. The gear that allows you to change the elevation of the gun needs to be cemented into the recoil mechanism now. Test fit this first. I needed to scrape out some of the excess cement in the recoil mechanism to allow the gear to be properly set in place. When you are satisfied with the fit, cement the gear in its place. It should go down nearly all the way into the recoil mechanism. The saddle halves go onto the notches on the recoil mechanism. Again, check the drawing on the instructions to make sure the position of these parts. It is critical they are set correctly. Use CA and a tweezer to hold each of the pieces onto the recoil mechanism and wait a few seconds for the glue to set up. Next to be attached to the recoil mechanism is the recoil replenisher. Test fit and, if necessary, remount the holes to allow the replenisher to fit correctly. Cement the recoil replenisher to the mechanism. Now the gun pivots need to be attached. Note, I removed the replenisher as the gun pivot needs to be installed first. This is my fault and not test fitting all three parts first before proceeding. After cementing these parts in place, allow the parts to set up a while before putting the recoil mechanism aside. If you have any questions about techniques explored in this video or general questions about this build, please post your questions in the comments section below.